How do I cope with knowing my girlfriend doesn't want to be sexual with me anymore? She's not sexually attracted to me. This is Reid from ReidAboutSex.com.
This is Cathy from the IntimacyDojo.com, and we love it when people send in questions.
Yeah, this person said I've explained to her that it's quite an emotional thing for me, and I still love her, and it makes me feel unattractive and undesirable knowing that my partner doesn't want anything sexual between us anymore. How can I cope with this?
Sure. First off, the Airlines I flew this morning lost my bag. All I had with me was my tux, so we're tuxing it up today. Yeah, this is an interesting one because this goes deep in a lot of different directions. Yeah. First off, we are not therapists, nor do we play therapists on television or the internet.
We're coaches.
We are coaches, and we're giving advice, and we don't even we think it's good advice, but you be the judge. Deep questions like this, you might want to get some support. Go get a therapist or a counselor just to kind of have somebody else that you can talk with and get witnessed by. We can answer the question, but it's not the same as a back and forth conversation or having somebody who's trained to listen and offer feedback. Yeah. I'm going to say that. Second, around, being in non-sexual relationships, or it sounds like relationships that were sexual, and then they've become non-sexual.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is our society teaches us that if you really love somebody romantically, you want to be sexual with them, and if you ever wanted to be sexual with them, you always want to be sexual with them. It's just like this key that you either have the key to the door or you don't have the key to the door. And the truth is people's needs change at different times, their interests change, what turns them on changes, and sometimes we can keep changing together and evolving and want to have sex our whole lifetimes. But to me, it's like each day we're choosing each other.
Mm-hmm. And then there are people that are in situations where maybe they're changing medication, or, there's big conversations with people who are experts in these ideas of folks who are getting treatment for cancer and chemotherapy and how that impacts libido. And certain medications can impact libido.
Changing birth control can change that as well.
Yeah,
what you're attracted to.
So bringing into other situations of looking at why the sex left, and where what's happening there, and that's not necessarily, it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing, and can you have conversations to see what's happening and talk more about what's going on in the relationship.
The other thing you can look at, to me, it's never, I've been on both sides where I still wanted to have sex with someone who didn't want to have it with me, mm-hmm. or they wanted to have sex with me and I didn't want to have it with them. And I've never found it really helpful to try to convince them to be different. Mm. Because one, that just leaves me in the side of pulling at them if I'm trying to convince them. Or if someone's trying to convince me, I feel pressured and I want to pull away more. It's not wrong to ask for what you need or want, but kind of saying, why won't you, will you, can you please do this with me? In the long run, it's never worked for me. I'd love to know if other people have different experiences. Working on my own feelings and knowing, okay, if this person doesn't want me, how can I support my own belief in my attractiveness and my value without needing because having sex with someone you love it's a big boost. It feels really good, and our society teaches us that means that you're valuable. How else can you reinforce your value? How else can you support your value in yourself if you're in an open relationship? Going out and finding people that do want to connect with you, but also doing work on any low self-esteem or low confidence that you're having. This might be a wake-up call of things to address. Notice what in particular you're feeling low status or less attractive around. Certain activities make you feel that, and use that as detective work to figure out where you can bolster that up and put in some supports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the big pieces for me are, because we don't know the details of this situation, but the approach to the situation I think is useful for all of us, because even if you're in a relationship right now where you're having lots of sex, that might shift. So being able to one, build a relationship where you can have deep conversations that don't necessarily have answers, feel like you can support each other in the unknown or even in the known, and be able to have grown-up conversations, get therapy for yourselves, go to therapy or counseling together, take a workshop together or separately, so that you're. I mean, these are all opportunities for growth, as long as there's not physical and emotional abuse. You know, I think it's up for grabs if you want to stay in the situation and try to work through it, or if you want to transition the situation. If you're in physical and emotional abuse, that's a situation where you need to take care of yourself. And, you know, I'm not going to tell people you have to get out of the situation, but you should be getting support. I'm going to say, no matter what the situation is, if it's emotional, physical abuse, get support. I have opinions about you should get out of the relationship, but I know that that's kind of, not everybody has a situation where they can. Yeah. So there's not have-tos, there are get-tos. These are complex issues. But like Cathy said, like, you know, how can you be true to yourself and start peeling apart the untangled mess that culture hands us?
Yeah, and if you can, start noticing what your self-talk is, and maybe softening that a little bit. If your girlfriend doesn't, like, you go out to touch your arm and she pulls away, it can be a really big impact. It can be really hurtful. Like, there's a lot of emotions that come up. And if you start telling yourself, see, you're stupid and no one wants you, which I've done many times, that just adds to the wound versus, okay, I'm noticing I want to say these things. What's a little gentle? How can I soften that? How can I be more supportive of myself?
Yeah. Usually what's going on is something that's going on for them. What's going on for you is that you're telling yourself. You're using the current situation to tell yourself or confirm things that you think about yourself, which are usually never the positive things.
Yeah, unfortunately, we tend not to do that. But I know this is a really tough situation with lots of emotions. And if you can be gentle with yourself and use this as a momentum to improve how you feel about yourself and how supported you feel in the world, that could be a...
And last but not least, this is what's also tricky. Because we collapse desirability in sex, we also realize if you're in America, I will guess other parts of the world as well, we have only a few crayons in the crayon box of what sex is. So if you can broaden the range of it's not just sex, but it's sensuality, it's intimacy, it's touch, it's caring, because we think sex is the ultimate act of caring.
Yeah.
Which can make people feel pressured, because now I have to have sex with you to feel like you care. Like, is there cuddling? Is there a massage? Is there just walking down the street holding hands? Like, what are those things that you can do that are also ways of feeling connected and feeling intimate and feeling desired? And again, this is a hard question to answer and really dig into in 8 minutes. But thank you so much and continue sending us the deep questions. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your vulnerability.
Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like,